Today's story is called Hooway for Wodney Wat by Helen Lester. Helen Lester writes books that are funny, and we are going to read some other books by her as well. So in this book, the main character is named Wodney Wat. His real name is Rodney, but he can't say ours. So Helen Lester has gotten many awards for her books. So as we read, think about why she might have earned all of these awards. Poor Wodney. Wodney Wat. His real name was Rodney Rat, but he couldn't pronounce his R's. To make matters worse, he was a rodent, a wodent. What's your name, Wodney? Asked the other rodents. Wodney Wat, whispered Wodney. What's another name for bunny? They asked knowingly. Wabbit, he mumbled. And how does a train travel? They winked at each other. A twain travels on twain tracks, Wodney replied miserably. So if you notice, all of these animals are rodents. So rodents include mice, rats, hamsters, guinea pigs, and other animals like that. So what do you think about how the other rodents are treating Wodney? And what do you notice about Wodney in these illustrations? How might he be feeling? All of this teasing, day in and day out, made Wodney the shyest rodent in the elementary school. His squeak could barely be heard in class. He gnawed lunch alone. And while the other rodents scurried and scooted about during recess, Wodney hid inside his jacket. So think about why Wodney might be hiding inside of his jacket. Then, one day, as the rodents were taking turns doing wheelies, a new rodent, a very large rodent, barged into the classroom and announced, "My name is Camilla Capybara. I'm bigger than any of you, I'm meaner than any of you, and I'm smarter than any of you." And then she added, "So there." And with that, she accidentally on purpose elbowed an ear, bumped two noses, stepped on three tails, and lay down on a desk. Fur prickled in fear throughout the classroom. She sure was bigger than any of them. She sure looked meaner than any of them. Was she smarter than any of them? "What's 2 plus 2? Asked Miss Fuzzleworth. "4, shouted Camilla Capybara, without even bothering to raise her paw. "And furthermore, 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16, and 243 plus 125 is 368. Later, when Miss Fuzzleworth asked, "What's the capital of?" Camilla interrupted and said, "New York, Albany, population 295,594. And during science, in answer to the question, "What part of the plant is below the ground?" Camilla Capybara danced on her desk and sang, "Root, root, rooty toot toot." Yup, thought all the other rodents. She's smarter than we are too. And they felt very uncomfortable. Every afternoon, just before the final recess, Miss Fuzzleworth drew a name from the hat to see who would be the leader for their favorite game, Simon Says. She scrunched her eyes closed and jiggled the hat. Would it be Hairy Hamster, Mini Feet Mouse, Grizzle Frizz Guinea Pig? Could it be Big, Mean, Smart Camilla Capybara? Miss Puzzlewort's paw reached in and pulled out the name of Wodney Wat. The bell rang and there was a wild scurry for the door, and Camilla Capybara was the first on the playground, having trampled the others in her path. Okay, so listen to the names of the students again. I'll read them and see if you notice a pattern, something that she does. So the names are Hairy Hamster, Mini Feet Mouse, Grizzle Frizz Guinea Pig, and Camilla Capybara. Okay. What did you notice? Okay. To Wodney, she looked especially scary. What would she do when she heard him squeak? Breathe capybara breath in his face? Or tie him up in his own tail? Or even pounce on him? The tiny, trembling leader of the game stood before the eager players, his head well inside his jacket, and squeaked, Wodney says, weed the sign. While all the other rodents began to read PS 142 Elementary School for Rodents, Camilla began pulling up the weeds around the sign and wildly flinging them hither and yon till she was clear up to her teeth in dirt. The other rodents began to smile. So why is Camilla weeding? Is there a difference between what Wodney says and what he means? All the other students know that he cannot say the R sound, but it doesn't seem like Camilla knows that. Wodney says, whap your paws around your head. He peeked a little peek out of his jacket and saw whap, whap, whappity, slappity, whap. Camilla was whapping her paws around her head so hard she became dizzy and gave herself a headache, then had to sit down. The other rodents couldn't help but giggling. Wodney says, play Wing Around the Wosey. Camilla put out her arms like wings and made an airplane noise. Nrrr. But where was the wosey? What was a wosey? So instead of saying ring around the rosy, right, he says wing around the wosey. And she has her arms out like wings trying to do what he said while the rest of them are playing the game, right? Ring around the rosy. By now, Wodney's voice was stronger and his head was entirely out of his jacket. Wake the leaves. Nobody moved. Wodney says, wake the leaves. While Harry, Mini Feet, and Grizzle Frizz and the others busied themselves raking, Camilla Capybara grabbed one leaf. Wake up, she yelled. She snatched another. Come on, you! Up, up, up! And another. Rise and shine! And another. Boo! By now, all the other rodents were squealing with laughter, all but Camilla, who frowned. Stupid leaves, they won't wake up. And why was everyone laughing at her? Such bullies. Okay, so... In a voice so strong, he had to hold his own ears, Wodney calls, Wodney, says, "Go west." The rodents clapped in a happy heap for a rest. Go west. Camilla Capybara, feeling very smart that she could tell the directions by the sun, said, "All right, I shall go west." And then she added, "So there." West she stomped. Forever she was gone. So notice the change in how Wodney is behaving. He seems almost proud of himself, right? All right. And from that day on, the pupils of PS 142 Elementary School for Rodents never teased Wodney again. He was their hero. "Hooway for Wodney Wat," they cried. "Woot, woot, woot, wooty toot toot."